I thought I had seen the world turn before. I thought I had heard all the speeches, all the sanctions, all the empty threats disguised as diplomacy. But this week the world didn't just turn. It cracked. It began with a letter, a quiet, calculated demand, slipped through diplomatic channels, marked with urgency from Tel Aviv to Brussels. Its target, not a superpower, not an aggressor, but a small West African nation standing taller than its borders have ever allowed. Burkina Faso. And its president, Ibrahim Traoré. The message was simple. Israel was calling on the European Union, the United Nations, and its Western allies to impose immediate economic and political sanctions on Burkina Faso. A reason, Traoré's unacceptable rhetoric, his aggressive posture at the UN, and most of all his bold accusation at the World Court that Israel committed war crimes in Gaza. But what Netanyahu didn't expect was the reply. Not from diplomats, not through back channels, but directly from Traoré. And it wasn't a rebuttal, it wasn't even a warning. It was a declaration. Sanctions on Burkina Faso for speaking the truth, Traoré said, will be treated as an act of war. And with that sentence, the old world order shuddered.
I want to make this clear to our people and to the international community, watching with interest or with fear. We did not raise our voice in The Hague out of anger. We rose because silence was betrayal. And now, for speaking truth, they want to punish us. Let them hear this. We do not fear your sanctions. We fear only the cost of our own silence. You sanction one African voice, you declare war on them all.
Across Africa, the reaction was electric. Within hours, news channels from Dakar to Addis Ababa interrupted programming. Youth movements in Nigeria post the now iconic clip of Traoré slamming his hand on the podium, captioned with 3 words, "A Court of Washington R." Twitter exploded. TikTok flooded with edits, protest speeches, Pan-African music. A street artist in Uganda painted Traoré dressed in a military coat, arms folded, with the words, "Not just a president, a line in the sand." And the sand was shifting fast. In private cables obtained by whistleblowers, Israeli officials described Burkina Faso as a security threat in Africa, alleging it is aligning with hostile forces. European diplomats reportedly responded with discomfort. One memo from the EU Council read, "We are witnessing a moral dilemma. Sanctioning Burkina Faso for advocating human rights at the World Court may irreparably damage our credibility on the continent." But Netanyahu was insistent. In a surprise press conference from Jerusalem, he stated, "We will not tolerate rogue regimes using international platforms to wage legal warfare against the state of Israel. These are not freedom fighters, they are provocateurs wrapped in red berets." When asked directly whether Israel was pressuring allies to freeze Burkina Faso's foreign aid and trade agreements, Netanyahu did not deny it. He said, "There will be consequences. They've chosen their side."
You say we've chosen our side. Let me remind you, we didn't choose war. We chose truth, and the World Court accepted our case. You can't sanction us for using the very system you claim to uphold, unless your fear is not the case, but the evidence. You threaten Burkina Faso, but we are not alone. Mali stands with us. Niger stands with us. South Africa has spoken. And now, even voices within Europe ask, what are you so afraid of? You want to sanction our economy? Try. We will build our own. You want to isolate us? Then watch us build alliances you never saw coming.
The implications were immediate. Niger announced it would review all trade ties with Israel. South Africa's foreign minister issued a direct rebuke of Israel's move, and a bloc of 14 African nations submitted a joint letter to the UN warning against punitive measures designed to silence African sovereignty. But the biggest surprise came from the streets, not from governments. In Accra, thousands gathered with banners reading, "Burkina Faso is all of us." In Tunis, students occupied a university courtyard chanting, "No sanctions for truth." And in Lagos, an artist collective projected Traoré's speech onto a skyscraper with the words, "Africa has spoken." An emergency session of the United Nations was called, not over a war, not over a famine, but over a diplomatic rift between a small African nation and one of the world's most powerful states. In a leaked audio recording, the European ambassador could be heard saying, "The irony is painful. We are here debating whether to punish a country for using the international legal system we told them to trust." And yet the pressure was real. Western banks began quietly reviewing financial aid routes to Burkina Faso. NGOs were advised to delay certain projects. A travel warning was issued for Israeli citizens traveling to parts of West Africa. But the people watching from the continent saw none of that. They saw a man standing alone, not begging, not bowing, but drawing a line the world never expected. Western media split down the middle. Some outlets condemned Traoré's words as escalatory, feckless, or inflammatory. But others, especially independent voices, said what millions were feeling. When a former colony takes its oppressor to court, that's not a threat, that's accountability. If speaking truth invites sanctions, then maybe the truth was too powerful. Social media kept up the pressure. The phrase, "a court of Washington," became the #1 trending hashtag across African platforms for 72 hours. Then came an unexpected voice, Donald Trump, posting on Truth Social. "Oh, Netanyahu better watch it. That African guy isn't bluffing. Sanctions on him could blow up the whole thing. Remember, it's always the small spark that lights the powder keg."
You tried silence, then you tried discrediting. Now sanctions. But what you forget is this. Every step you take proves our case. Every threat confirms our fear, that this system was never made for us. And now that we're using it, you're terrified. Call it war, call it defiance. We call it justice.
The comment went viral, and not just because of who said it, but because of the uneasy truth behind it. So what happens now? Nations are being forced to pick sides, not between Burkina Faso and Israel, but between truth and fear, between a system built to protect power and a movement rising to challenge it. And Ibrahim Traoré, love him or hate him, is now more than a man. He's a mirror, one reflecting every suppressed voice, every unpunished war crime, every backroom deal pretending to be diplomacy. He is not the problem, he is the result. This isn't about sanctions. This isn't even about Gaza, or Burkina Faso, or Netanyahu. This is about who gets to speak, and who gets punished for doing so. The question now isn't whether the system is broken. It's whether anyone dares to challenge it, knowing what it might cost. Ibrahim Traoré has answered that question. Now it's your turn. Was he right to call this an act of war? Was he reckless or righteous? Let us know in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from: Nairobi, Paris, Ramallah, Johannesburg, Atlanta, or Islamabad. Because the world is watching this moment, and one way or another history will remember who stood, and who sanctioned the ones who did. This is Troy Uprising, and we are not done yet. Like, share, subscribe. Truth doesn't ask permission, and neither do we.